Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday. How are we doing this Wednesday night? Tell me about your Wednesday. I want to know. Hello. Hey, Kitty. Great to have you here with us. It is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. Folks, it is. Well, welcome aboard. Oops, what did I do with my glasses? There's my glasses. I see my glasses. Trying to get stuff accomplished here tonight. How we doing? Hey, Adele and Dazzle. Great to have you here with us on this Wednesday night. Hump Day. What are you guys grateful for today? Tell me about your day. Hey, Yvonne. Great to have you here. Putting away all the Christmas. Well, it does come again, Kitty. It does come again. 330-something days until Christmas. And I bet you bought it for nothing. Nothing you bought all that Christmas. Ho, 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 all the way to the bank. Ho, ho, ho. You will be singing it. You will be singing it all the way to the bank. It is great to have everybody here. Julie Jankowitz, how are you? Your ears must be burning. I've been thinking about you. You're right over on my desk right now. Believe it or not. I did my homework for you. Hopefully your bank appointment went well today. Hopefully that was uneventful and they said, how fast can we deposit this money in your account? That's what I'm hoping for all of you. Jennifer, great to have you here. We have two Napleans. Napleans? Yvonne's on, you're on. You're all here. Everybody's here. It's a good night to be here. It is a good night to be here. We got a lot to cover tonight, even though I'm late. We do too, Kitty. We have a gift shop that sells us all. Although, you know, we've been helping her. So now she probably won't have as much leftover as from this year. That she usually does. But she stores it for us and brings it to us in August. Brings us everything. It's great stuff. Well, actually, I thought I told you that story, Yvonne. Why do I live in Connecticut? This goes back a long time, how I ended out in Connecticut. Way back when, well, now 21 years ago, okay, when our stores were really, we didn't have stores back then. We had store, was small, and Rebecca was small, our daughter was small. I was traveling a lot on business, and my mother-in-law, Nana, who lives with us, was traveling as well. And by being centrally located in Connecticut, one of us was able to be home with Cassandra and Rebecca each night. So we were able to do our schedules, so one of us was home each night. And that worked really well. It was a central location for our travel. It was good highway access, and it worked out really well. And then your child starts growing and gets involved in things, and your business is growing. And then all of a sudden you get stuck and you live in the country in Connecticut. And you kind of like that. You wish you were closer to your stores a little bit, but it's also nice that I'm not. I can't just pop in, you know. I mean, it is intentful when I go into my stores. So, it's, you know, now that she's a college graduate and everything else, you know, it sort of frees us up to be wherever. But then that brings other complexities with Nana and Rebecca has this dream of building a house, a small house on the front part of our yard. Who knows? We're here in Connecticut right now. There's a long answer to you. Well, or a long, short answer, Yvonne. Hey, Joanne, great to have you here. Neapolitans, like the ice cream, Jennifer? Hello, Kelly. Great to have you here. Before I get too far off base tonight, because I got a lot of stuff you guys want to hear tonight, a lot of stuff you want to hear about tonight. Hello, Michelle. Great to have you here. I'm going to get right to the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this program every night. Tonight we are on page 102 if you're following along. 102. Good morning. Your pace today. No one else's. You can't be rushed. You can't be slowed down. Good morning. All right, Neapolitans. Well, I thought of you the other day, Jennifer. We had, I know snowbirds, and you taught me about snow chicks. And the other day we had a package going to a farm chick out in the Midwest. We had a farm chick, okay? That was how she labeled herself, farm chick. And I don't know. The things that you people teach me, the things that I learn by coming on every night. Snow chicks, Neapolitans, now farm chicks. I was going to send you a picture of the label. I forget what state it went to, but it is, farm chick. Farm chick it was a new one for me, and that's how she wanted it addressed. So I am simple that way. What did I do with my glasses? I'm still not totally with the new set yet. I'm coming together, but I have too many places. I have places in front of me and behind me to put stuff down. Oh, now you're calling yourself a farm chick? I thought you were winter. I don't even know. So, and I want to say it was going to something like Minnesota or something, Jennifer. I'll have to look it up where it was going to. But I saw that and I just laughed. I was going to send you a picture of it. Our friends at the SBA issued $5 billion worth of PPP loans in the first week. $5 billion, 60,000 loans worth from 3,000 lenders, totaling $5 billion. Consuming about 2% of the amount that the program had to lend. And that was before yesterday, where the program opened up to everybody. Yes, you are very complex, Jennifer. That does not include, the applications that the SBA got yesterday when the program just opened up. I expect you to, after this week, I expect you to at least be able to add a 0. So next week at this time, when I update it on the SBA, on the amount the SBA has spent, I expect that number to have another 0 on it at least, because a lot of people were really ready. Hey, Vicky's with us. Vicky, who I kicked in the butt last night, called out on air and made her do her application. I'm proud of you, Vicky, for getting it done. I'm proud of you finding it simple, and I'm glad you got it in. Okay, you can thank me later on. I am very happy that you got that in. That makes me very happy for you that you got that done. Again, I'm encouraging everyone that is eligible to apply. You do not know where the end of this road is, okay? Even if you're doing well right now, even if your bank account's okay right now, I want you to apply for it, okay? You're not taking away money from somebody else, okay? This money is meant for you. And I want you to, I want the insurance for you, and that you have a good foundation coming out of this. You do not know what else is going to happen here in the coming months. Okay, we just don't. Okay, you know, we're at week 44, 45 of this. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have that kind of crystal ball. And so I want you to be ready for it. Yeah, it's going to happen faster than that, Kelly. I mean, they did 60,000 applications yesterday. The SBA is going to be turning those around much faster than 2 to 3 weeks. So don't worry about that. It is going to be. It is not. They are not going to be turning it around in same day. That is true. They will not be turning it around same day because they added these extra fraud checks to make sure you're not a criminal. Although just being a criminal does not, by in and of itself, exclude you from getting a PPP loan. It wants to make sure you're not the wrong kind of criminal in these fraud checks, or at least that you are you. Okay, because it's okay to be a criminal and get a PPP. It's not okay for me to say I'm Kelly and get a PPP if I'm not Kelly. So they have all these additional fraud checks in place. Ellen, that's awesome. I'm so glad you got yours in today. I am so glad you got yours in today. So, you know, the fraud checks is an overnight process for the SBA. So they're really sort of projecting a 2-day turnaround for the SBA from the applications they receive in their online system from the banks, because overnight they process the fraud checks, then they prepare to send it back to the banks and and attach the approval numbers and everything. So I would say 48 hours, 3 days, but the idea of this is to get money in the hands of businesses fast. And both the old administration and the new administration are committed to that. So our new people that will be coming in will help with that. Oh, Ellen, you're our inspiration. I think you and Mike all the time. I hope you guys are both doing well. I hope all is well. And we do have to catch up. So tonight, what do I have to talk about? I said I had stuff to talk about. I have in my hot little hands, okay, the new loan forgiveness applications, the new Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness applications, the 3508S, the 3508EZ, and just the simple 3508. They've all been newly updated, as I expected they would have been on the way out of the old administration. I talked about it for weeks, that I said these will be done before they leave town. And here they are. They will be available to you later tonight, but we're going to talk about it here because these are the applications I want you using. Okay, I do not want you using the old applications. I want you using the new ones, especially if your loan is under $150,000. Especially if your PPP is under $150,000, and this is where I'm going to start tonight because I have 3 applications. Okay, and we're gonna talk about each one of them, but the one I'm going to focus on is the 3508S with a revision date currently of January 19th. That's yesterday. Okay. So this application you'll be able to get in the NARTS private Facebook group within the hour. It will be on narts.org/resalestrong by noon tomorrow. I tell you. Okay, so why is this application 3 pages, Neil, if it's supposed to be 1 page? Well, it really is 1 page. It's 1 page that they want you to fill out one page they'd like you to fill out, and 2 pages, well, actually 4 pages of instructions. I print double size. The banks have access to them. Okay, they've been sent to the banks. My guess is the banks will be ready in another week or two to process these. Especially the banks that are processing them electronically, they have to update their computer systems for them. But the banks will have these. I'm not keeping these a secret. I actually sent one person with them to their bank today, whose bank was advocating for it, and I'm like, well, if they'll let you sign this, I'm okay with you signing this. So, but my guess is that their banker had not seen it yet. Is just a personal guess. But it was in my hot little hands early this morning. It was, I as soon as I rolled my butt out of bed, it was there. So I had anticipated it would be, because they weren't gonna leave this to the next administration. These are your new forgiveness applications, Michelle. This is the one that I approve of you signing. These are the new forgiveness applications for your first PPP or your second PPP when we get to it. So if your PPP is under $150,000, you will be using the form 3508S. So what does this form ask you? Funny you should ask. It asks the legal name of the borrower, your DBA or trade name if applicable, your address, your NAICS code. This is the same code that you use, the North American Industry Classification System code that you used on your application, that is on your tax form and is on your insurance form. It asks for your business tax ID number, your phone number, the primary contact, and email address. It asks whether you're asking for forgiveness of your first draw or your second draw PPP loan. It asks for the PPP loan number, the SBA PPP loan number. You should have gotten this in your original loan information, and you may have to get that, refresh your memory from the bank, but they will have that. It asks for your lender's loan number. So it wants both the SBA's loan number and the loan number that your lender assigned the loan. So your account number with the bank for this, because every bank set up a loan for this. It is asking for employees at the time of loan application. And it is not asking for FTEs. Okay, while we've done a lot with FTEs, it is asking for the total number of employees at the time of application and the total number of employees at the time of forgiveness of the application. The next couple questions are extremely... It's under the big sticky note. There you go, Kathy. The next few questions are extremely important, and we're going to cover these again as we get back into the employee retention tax credit, because this is super, super important. It asks for what the covered period is. The covered period can be any number of weeks from the time of deposit. So the covered period starts with the day it deposited in your account to a minimum of 8 weeks. So the day of deposit into your account of your PPP, the day it hit your account, plus a minimum of 8 weeks to a maximum of 24 weeks. In general, we want that number to be as small as possible so that you can take advantage of the employee retention tax credit. Okay? Especially in northern states where you're going to be able to really maximize the credit. Okay, anywhere that we can maximize the credit, okay, we need that period to be as short as possible. So that is super important. Super important. in defining what your covered period is. The next question is the amount of the loan spent on payroll costs. We want to maximize the employee retention tax credit we want that number to be as close to 60% of your loan as possible. Okay? It can be 62, 63, just to up to 65% of the loan, just to compensate for math errors. I don't want any math errors as part of this. Okay? And payroll, there's enough taxes and other things with that you can end out with a simple math error. So a little more than 60% spent on payroll. We will come back to this as part of the employee retention tax credit, why we want that so minimal. And your requested loan forgiveness amount. Your requested loan forgiveness amount, in most all cases, should be equal to the amount of your loan. Okay? If you put a number there that is less, okay, and they approve it, you are done. Okay? There is no going back on this. There's no do-overs for this application. So that is really, really important that you enter the amount of your loan in that. You can use it in 7, but the covered period has to be at least 8 weeks. Okay, if you pay payroll every other week and you didn't have a payroll on week 8, that's fine. Okay, where you actually cut checks and everything. But they keep it to it's a required minimum of 8 weeks. Okay, is the game plan with that. Then you have to hold up your hand. Okay, get ready. Here is what you have to say. The authorized representative of the borrower certifies to all of the below by initialing next to each one. The borrower has complied with all the requirements in the Paycheck Protection Program rules. Section 7A 36, 7A 37, and 7A of the Small Business Act. The PPP interim final rules and guidance issued by the SBA through the date of this application, including the rules related to eligible uses of the PPP loan proceeds. No, you can't buy a boat. No, you can't be like the lady that they interviewed on the news tonight who says, "Oh, I opened another business with my PPP money." No, you can't do that. That would not be a permissible use. And it's really dumb to get on the radio and say that. The amount of the PPP loan proceeds that must be used. So you've used it for eligible uses of the PPP loan proceeds. You've used the amount of PPP loan proceeds that must be used for payroll costs, a minimum of 60%. Somewhere in the 61 to 65% range is my recommendation. The calculation and documentation of the borrower's revenue reduction, if applicable, that would be to second draw loans. The calculation of the borrower's requested loan forgiveness amounts. Information regarding these requirements may be found in the Form 3508S instructions and the Paycheck Program Protection rules. So that is the first thing that you are signing off on, that you use the money correctly, that you didn't buy a boat, that you didn't go and open another business and then tell everybody about it and have a thing on the news about it. That, thank God I couldn't have opened another business had I not gotten a PPP. Who does that? Who does that? Okay, don't do that. Don't buy a boat. Don't buy a land boat with it. Okay? It's for payroll, mostly. Rent, utilities, other allowed expenses. The next thing that you have to sign off on is the following. The information provided in this application is true and correct in all material respects. I understand that knowingly making a false statement to obtain forgiveness of an SBA guaranteed loan is punishable under the law, including 18 U.S.C. 1001 and 3571, by imprisonment of not more than 5 years and a fine up to $250,000. Under 15 U.S.C. 645, by imprisonment of not more than 2 years and a fine of not more than $5,000. And if submitted to a federally insured institution, under 18 U.S.C. 1014, by imprisonment of not more than 30 years and a fine of not more than $1 million. Prison, $1 million. Don't lie. You use this money to keep people employed. I know it, you know it. That's what you're initialing with that paragraph. But they will enforce this. Yes, you're not going to jail, Michelle, because you used the money right. You didn't take it and open another business. You didn't buy a boat with it. You're not going to jail. You employed people. You gave people livelihood. You fulfilled their hopes and dreams while maintaining yours, so that you use the money correctly. The next paragraph that you're going to sign off on. Following the submission of this forgiveness application, the borrower, that's you, must retain all records necessary to prove that you were in compliance with the program. That's this file folder right here. Right here, the file folder. Boom. For 4 years for employment records, and for 3 years for all other records. So all the things that deal with the 60%, you have to keep on file for 4 years. The expenses that relate to everything else, like utilities, things of that nature, you have to keep for 3 years. So just plan on 4 years. You got this file that I told you, that I've been telling you to create, okay? 4 years. How many years do you keep it? 4. How many fingers am I holding up? 4. 4 years, people. The SBA may request additional information for the purposes of evaluating the borrower's eligibility for the PPP loan and for loan forgiveness, and the borrower's failure to provide information requested by the SBA may result in a determination that the borrower was ineligible for the loan or the forgiveness. The borrower's eligibility for loan forgiveness will be evaluated in accordance with the Paycheck Program rules. SBA may direct a lender to disapprove the borrower's loan forgiveness application if the SBA determines that the borrower was ineligible for the loan in the first place. Oh, they're going to have so many people at the state level, Kelly, and the federal level searching for fraud. Again, I've been talking about this. The biggest thing they're going to catch small businesses in is the duplication of benefits. Duplication of benefits. DOB. That is why we have the file of where we spent anything that you got. Whether it's your PPP, whether it's a state grant, whether it's the employee retention tax credit, you got to have the file so that when they come knocking, you just say, here's my file. There's the facts. It is very, very simple. I like the form. I approve of the form. It is like the drafts that I have seen. The only other question on page 2 is demographic information. Are you a veteran, or the spouse of a veteran, or a disabled veteran? What is your gender? What is your race? And what is your ethnicity? Ethnicity. That is not required. That is demographic information, but they'd like it if you took the time to fill it out. I just want to see. It doesn't have to be the covered period does not have to be an even number of weeks, but it has to exceed 8 weeks and can be any day 8 weeks forward that you choose. The only other things that come to this is if you have is if you had affiliated companies that were more than that got more than $2 million in loans. Your bank will be asking, my guess is most of you have been getting requests from your bank to submit an application for forgiveness online. My guess is in a couple of weeks that will be updated so that they can handle the new form. I would not participate with anybody that is not ready for the new form. Okay? You want to be using this form. You also do not want to be rushing into this yet, okay? So you don't want to call up your banker tonight, say, hey, I got Neil's form. And your banker's like, why are you calling me at home? Well, I thought I could. No, you don't want to do that. And you don't want to be rushing down to your bank first thing in the morning. Because I want to talk more about the tax credit. Because I need you to understand more the strategies that go into forgiveness now. There are more things at play here. And so you have to understand the employee retention tax credit and how it relates to forgiveness so that you can get the maximum. Those of you that are eligible, okay, like Michelle, like Kelly, like Joanne, okay, that are eligible for maximum, not only the PPP forgiveness, but taking advantage of the employee retention tax credit to its fullest, okay, need to know how these work hand in hand. And we're going to get into that over the next several days. It's going to take time to delve into it because there's a lot of math to it, okay? There's some math to it. Is my file up here? I'll bring up my file. The form number is 3508S, Michelle. 3508S. You want to, these all work hand in hand. And you really got to look at your PPP spend on the first draw may not be how you originally planned it. All the rules have changed. So you want to be able to maximize your forgiveness on the first PPP while also being able to take advantage of the employee retention tax credit in 2020. And you'll want to do the same again with your second draw PPP and the employee tax credit in 2021 for those of you that are eligible. Not everyone is eligible for the employee retention tax credit, but many of you are, at least for a period of time. And any little bit of it that you can get, okay, any little bit of the credits here that you guys can get is so important, okay, because I talk about the term tax credit is misleading because in this case, it's not some fictitious line item off your taxes. The employee retention tax credit is actual cash that will go into your bank. Just be aware of that, and we'll really start digging in on that tomorrow night. And how that applies and how that may rethink how you use the PPP. I had everything laid out, all my spreadsheet laid out of our PPP spend, and I had to go back and look at other things because the rules have changed so much since when we first got it, but they've changed to our benefit. So I want to make sure that for the health of the company, okay, which is ultimately the health of our community, that I properly take advantage of everything that is available to us as a company. I missed a couple of questions here. Yeah, Joanne, at this point, wait for Chase to announce the new form. I mean, this literally was dropped as people were leaving Washington today, or last night. But this is the form that you're going to want to use, but you're not ready for it. You'll be ready for it. I hope to have you all ready for it by the beginning of the week. Although I know some of you I'll have to have conversations with, because the combination of the employee retention tax credit and the PPP is confusing. It just is. It's a lot confusing, but it is real money. This is real money, people. This isn't monopoly money. This isn't fake money. This is real money to help you keep people employed. And I want you to make sure that you are properly taking advantage of it so that you are maximizing every penny that you can get. Kelly, is it 50%? Yeah, in 2020, the employee retention tax credit is 50% of the first $10,000 paid in gross payroll to employees that is paid with non-PPP funds. Okay, that is the credit between basically April 1st and the end of the year. That is the credit that you are eligible for. For payroll that can count towards that as payroll that is paid with non-PPP funds. If you are in an area that has had a decline in sales of 50% or greater, or if you're in an area that is complying with a government order that restricts your business operations, like many people are in many parts of the country, especially the north, where they are complying with orders to occupancy orders. So they can only have 50% occupancy, or like right now we're under 25% occupancy right now in Massachusetts. Or like you had to do, Kelly, where you had to shut down again. That qualifies you for it. You know the email, Kelly. Happy to answer. Stephanie, I would say that and I know you're in Iowa, so what you need to know, Stephanie, is two things. And then I would argue that your math is wrong. Okay? I would say you need to sharpen your pencil, and the way that you think you spent it may not be the way you spent it. Okay? And I say that because, one, the number of things that you can spend it on now is vastly expanded. And two, if there's a period of time, and I know Iowa wasn't shut down as hard as some areas, but if there's a period of time where you can comply with and capture the employee retention tax credit, especially for someone like you with the number of employees that you have, even a short period, even if you're only able to claim it for a quarter, it would be a significant amount of money for you. So it is something that you're going to want to follow up on and look at with this, so that we can get you the maximum credit that you deserve and be able to take advantage of everything. But I don't remember. I know Iowa has not been shut down as much as New Mexico, Virginia, Illinois, Massachusetts, New York, the Northeast states. So the significant benefit with that. So I do want you to follow that, and I do want you to, and if we need to hop on the line and chat over it, I'm happy to do it. But that is what you really want to follow in Iowa, is what your occupancy limits were and what types of restrictions and when they were in effect is one of the key issues with it. So back to PPP forgiveness for just a second, because I promise you we're going to delve further into how these two join each other, but we got to do it in bits and pieces because there's only so much of this you guys can digest at one time. There's only so much of this I can talk about at one time. Okay, before I go, I'm talking about the P and the PPP. Let's say your PPP was over $150,000. Remember that you're only allowed to use the 3508S forgiveness form if your PPP is under $150,000. If your PPP is over $150,000, but less than, so if your PPP is over $150,000, and you can attest to a couple of things, you can use the EZ form, which still requires you to do a bunch of calculations, okay? But it is better than the long form. The long form, the most complicated form, the straight 3508, is this big thick thing I got here, okay? And I don't want anybody to end out with that. Most people that I have worked with should be able to use either the 3508S or the 3508EZ. I will double check for you, Michelle, and see if I have a site. I was going to check. I will check tomorrow with my friends at the National Retail Federation and see if they have a compilation by state for me for the different restrictions. I'm guessing that your state's website would have that under the governor's briefs or something that would follow the restrictions and the timelines of them. I know you were under restrictions for occupancy. It didn't affect you as much, okay? That's the thing with the restrictions in the employee retention tax credit, which again, I will start deep in on tomorrow night. I promise you I will go back into the employee retention tax credit, how it relates to how you spent the PPP tomorrow night. But the even if it wasn't directly hurting your business, if you weren't allowed to operate as normal, okay, the fact that you made sales, even if you grew sales, okay, because you pivoted and you did online and you did Facebook Lives, okay, the fact that you couldn't operate normally because of the restriction, you couldn't have your fall clearance sale or party, you couldn't do these things because you were limited in occupancy, qualifies you for the employee retention tax credit. So if your loan is over $150,000, I want you to look at the, if your PPP is over $150,000, I want you to look at the 3508EZ form. And I'm not going to go into this deep, okay, because the majority of people that I'm talking to have loans below that. But it is much easier than the long form, okay? You still have to keep all the records, but you do have to list out. The biggest difference on this is you have to list out line by line what you spent the money on. Dollars spent on payroll, mortgage interest, business lease payments, utility payments, covered operational expenditures, covered supplier costs, covered worker protections. Okay, and you have to do that line by line. So it's a little more involved, but most of you should be able to use, if your loan is over $150,000, should be able to use this form. And so those are the two, because I want to keep people out of this form. And the straight 3508 form deals with if you changed salaries, if you changed headcount, if you reduced people's pay, if you get into some of those situations, which I don't think anybody that I'm working with or helped has gotten themselves so deep in that situation that they couldn't use the EZ form. So the S for loans, 3508S for loans under $150,000, 3508 EZ for loans over $150,000. And when you have a question, shoot them to me. But we definitely do not want to rush to your bank with this again. Again, I don't want you to be locked into this until you understand better how to maximize the employee retention tax credit. I can't stress that enough, that maximizing the credit and getting the most from it. I mean, this is real money. I've done the math. Okay, I've done ours. I did it. It is real money. It is not chump change. So we definitely want to do that, and you want to understand that before you apply for PPP forgiveness, okay? Because you can't change anything once you've applied. So we want to maximize it before. Witches Night Out. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I mean, all sorts of things were canceled, and it was because of the restrictions that were in place. So as long as the restrictions were in place in your state, and this is where the northern states have an advantage. There is definitely a difference in restrictions in states that are of northern in the country in general. There are some southern states that do have some restrictions, but in general, it's been the northern states that have had the tougher restrictions and the southern states that have had less. But less doesn't mean none. So if you've had some, especially ones that affected occupancy size, we're going to be able to take advantage of the employee retention tax credit, which I will start delving how the two of these go together tomorrow night. I will get on that. That is my plan. That is my plan, folks. So we will keep on top of that. You know what you can keep on top of? Everything I talk about here, everything goes over to narts.org/resalestrong by noon the next day. narts.org/resalestrong by noon the next day. All the files, the 3508S, the 3508EZ, and the 3508 will all be there by noon tomorrow. In this video and the direct link to the YouTube channel, you're not alone running this store, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when a new one drops. Yes, you will. That all happens. Adele and Cassandra make all the behind the scenes happen. They make me look good. They keep you all connected and informed. And it'll all be there by noon tomorrow. It's also there so you can, not only so you can stay caught up, but so you can share it with everybody else in business. Everybody else, so we can help everybody get to the other side. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker, I don't care what their business is, we're helping everybody get to the other side. narts.org/resalestrong. Show Michelle the money. Yeah, show her the money. Vina's here with us. I am here every night at more 8 than ish, live in the Narts private Facebook group, where I take your questions, bring you up to date on what's going on. Yes, I do. If you have a question in between, you just email me, Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com, Neil at ECIstores.com. We need some everyday courage. Let's see what we got for some everyday courage here. Our Vina book. Since Vina popped in late, let's do... I like this. Our quote of the day in the Everyday Courage book that Vina sent us is, courage is grace under pressure. Courage is grace under pressure. From Ernest Hemingway. We start this program every night with the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this every night. Tonight, if you're following along, we're on page 102. Good morning. Your pace today. No one else's. No one's. You can't be rushed. You can't be slowed down. Our good night tonight is good night. Your pace in this life, no one else's. You can't be rushed. You can't be slowed down. No, you can't. No, you can't. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party. A wedding, a bar mitzvah, an inauguration ball. Nope, didn't get invited to that. Nope, did not. But we will party again, and when we can, I will be there with you in person. I promise you that. I will. But until then, and until tomorrow at more 8 than ish, know that you, and most importantly you, yes you, you're not alone running this store. It's time for dessert, everybody. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.